Welcome. So in this video, we are going to start a look at variables and the data can be once on many different types, and it is important to understand the different types of in the JavaScript. Now, when we declare a variable, we need to use one of three keywords. Three keywords. So I will take a new folder in this to click and create it as 02 variables folder, and in this I am going to create one more file index.html, and in this I will create one more file script.js, and we need to include the script in this variables heading, and I am going to include script.src. Sorry, script src include script in this file. So in this we need to run this, stop the before one, and we need to start this and include variables. It is loading, and in this we are going to write some ways to declare a variable. Second, var with this const we will create. Now you probably want to see where very much anymore, as where was the original declaration, but in 2015, which is the update of JavaScript or ECMAScript in 2015 update, uh, it was changed. It was a huge update to the language, and they introduced let and const, and the main reason for that is due to something called scope, and I'm not going to do get into this much into scope right now because it will go over a lot of people's heads that are just getting started. We are going to have a whole section on function scope, execution, context, and stuff like that. But for now, just know that when you write a code, just write in the file, not instead inside a function, not inside on any if statement. That is a global scope. All right. Now in the global scope, var and let work in a very similar way. Now const it is a little bit different. It is for values that you are not going to be reassigning to any later time, and I will show you how to show you const in a later time. Let first name is equal to string with a single quote John. Here I have made a n capital letter because it is a second letter word and it is in a capitalized camel case. We need to write in a camel case format. But let us say first name, we will say last name. Last name is equal to do. We created some strings and created some variables and values. We need to check console log first name, last name. We can see here John Dio. And I want to add some more for this console.log, sorry, const let age is equal to 30 without inverted commas, single quote. Now console.log age, where we can see 30. And before providing this variable, I want to log console.log age. It catches an error cannot access age before initialization. When we do this right here, let const var this is initializing a variable, and you want to initialize it before you use it. Now does act a little different if we use var. If we use var over here, and if we run this, it will work age, or it will show an error age here undefined. So if I say var here and I run this, we don't get any error, but you will see that it is undefined. And this is due to something called hosting, which is a little more advanced, and we will talk it about later time. But yeah, you want to initialize your variables first. We will remove it when it comes. Now, when it comes to naming your variables, there is a couple conversation that we need to follow, conventions we need to follow. Na- so here some named variable names can only be letters. Naming conventions where only letters, numbers, underscores, and dollar signs, which cannot be in the naming, or can't start with a number. So variable names can only be in letters, numbers, underscores, and dollar signs. Okay, so you cannot have anything else. You cannot have like a plus symbol or any asterisk, asterisk or anything like that. And even though you can have numbers, they cannot start with a number. Let one name is equal to brand. It will show an error. If I remove this, if, if I add a place, also it will show an error. Now, as far as the formatting of your variables or like multiple words, just paste this in here. Here, here, multiple words. Here, these are the formatting for multiple words. Multiple words formatting. Camel case underscore Pascal case and lower cases. What I did here with first name is camel case, first and last name. This is called camel case, where you start with a lowercase and number for the first word, and then every other after that, which is a uppercase. Okay, so it is a camel case that usually what you are going to see. Now you have other way to do it, like you could use underscore to separate the word which I which I use don't particularly like, but I mean it is all right. I guess you can see a lot of that in PHP. And then we have a particular case where Pascal case where the first word is also uppercase, and there are conventions are there some certain times where this is the conventions, such as in React components or most for front end frameworks. When when you create a component, the file name is Pascal case, so is the class or the function name of the component. And then you might see all lower cases, which I really don't like. If we are getting into like three or four words, it is very not readable. Okay, so let's look at reassigning variables. Reassigning variables, where we use age. Age is equal to 31 reassigned. Now console dot log age is here 31. Now another thing I can do with, let it just simply declare it and not actually assign the value. Let core variable with no value. Score is equal to 1. Score. Here we are getting 1. And don't worry if you don't understand this, but let's say we have something happen where if true in flower brackets score is equal to score plus 1 CLG, where we can see the score plus 1. Now let's try the kind of same thing with const. So we will go ahead and say const x is equal to value 100, and let's say x variable reassigned to 200. It is showing an error. Constant variable assigned to a constant where constant cannot be reassigned. The const score 1, it is showing an error message. Const declaration must be initialized. If I say this same error, it is displaying over here. Okay, if this let score 1 const Now, where a lot of people get confused is when you are using arrays or objects, things that are not primitive values. And I know I have not gotten into that stuff yet, but I just want to show you a quick example that is example that pretty easy to understand. So if I use const and I have an array const of an array ml 1, 2, 3, 4 with a multiple values. Directly reassession 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I use it but I want I could do is with arrays. You have a bunch of methods such as push and pushes array dot push with func 5 5 here. If we add it here and console cld shortcut array, we can see here 5 1 2 3 4 5. So I have implement manipulated to push in this array uh, extra value in this array. I change it to from 1 to 3 4 to 1 2 3 4 and 5 uh, 5 by using a method to push 5 onto the end. And in the same goes with objects. Const person is equal to name is equal to name brand and come down person dot name and set that equal to John. It was and directly changing the variable inside the variable and value of the key. Person dot email is equal to brand at the rate gmail dot com. CLG person where we can see name John and brand gmail at the rate gmail. So when people ask me, what should I use, const, let, or both, or whatever I say, it is it's really perfection. No, for me, I always use const unless I know I am going to directly reassign something like this over here. Score. Okay. Now you are going to find that you don't do this very often. I don't do this very often. We use a lot use objects and arrays, and using const directly reassign this very often. Mm, you are going to do stuff like this. You are going to use methods, you are going to assign properties and stuff like that. So that is my rule is I always use const unless I know it is something that I'm going to change. As a score in a game, you might add to that, but you probably or what I would do is have a object an object and then just change that value so I could use const in that case. So I mean you are going to find a lot of this stuff as preference. Alright, another thing that I want to mention is can declare multiple. values. Let's say declare at once. Let a become a c. There is a let, and then I could also do like const. I cannot just I have to assign, but still do multiple at once. Const a b is equal to 10, comma e equal to 20. SAF is equal to 30. Okay. Console B, we get 10 over here. I usually don't do this. I will just use a semicolon and then just do const E, const F. But that is just again, but you can assign multiple at the same time. And if you don't actually assign a value and you log it, and where you are going to get is undefined. Example, undefined. Okay, which is one of the data types, which is what where we are going to talk about in the next video.